Harvey Weinstein was a Hollywood icon, the definition of a movie mogul, as well known for his bombastic style as he was for producing hits like Shakespeare in Love,
Shakespeare,
Pulp Fiction. But on October 5th, 2017, all that would change. A New York Times investigation uncovered years of alleged sexual harassment and assault accusations aimed at Weinstein by former employees and actors. The first account in the article was from Ashley Judd. More than 20 years ago, Judd was a young actor.
I could shoot you in the middle of Mardi Gras and they can't touch me.
Who says she was asked to meet with the Hollywood Titan in a hotel room, where he appeared in a bathrobe and asked if he could give her a massage or she could watch him shower. And Judd was not alone. Others shared their stories of sexual advances and misconduct. The investigation stated that Weinstein had reached settlements with at least 8 women, including actor Rose McGowan.
He should go to jail forever. He stole so many lives.
Soon, other women shared their allegations, from terrified assistants at Weinstein's companies to superstars like Gwyneth Paltrow. More than 80 women have come forward, so similar from one accuser to the next, the reporters who broke open the story would name this the pattern, Weinstein's hallmark moves. Weinstein has publicly denied any non-consensual contact with the actors or staff members and has pleaded not guilty to sexual assault charges in New York. He is set to go to trial in January.
Joining us now are Jodi Kantor and Twohey, authors of the new book. It's called She Said, Breaking the Sexual Harassment Story That Helped Ignite a Movement. Megan is also a contributor for NBC News. And we're also joined by Ashley Judd, who was the first Hollywood star to talk on record to the reporters. Welcome to all of you this morning.
Thank you so much for having us.
We were just talking. If you look at all of the faces behind us, it really puts it into context how big this story became. Let's take it back all the way to where you guys decided to write this book. You guys say you set out to try to figure out how this downfall led to really a societal shift in how we view this whole movement. Is that right?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. We realized that our first story was just the beginning and that there was so much more that we had to learn. This wasn't just a story about a single individual predator. It was a story about complicity. I mean, there were individuals and Harvey Weinstein's own companies and his brother who glimpsed what was going on. So we really wanted to ponder the question of, like, when people get glimpses of wrongdoing, what do they do about it? We also just wanted to learn so much more about the machinery of that was basically in place to silence people like Ashley Judd. And so this really was an X-ray, not just into an individual predator, but into an entire, like, abuse of power. And we really felt like it was important to bring readers in our pursuit of that truth.
Jodi, you write at one point what Ashley Judd going on the record meant for your reporting. You write about that moment specifically. What did that mean? What was Ashley Judd's decision? What did that mean for the reporting?
Well, early on in the Weinstein investigation, we had a problem because people were beginning to confide in us, and they were telling us very disturbing stories, but everybody was scared to go on the record. And a lot of the investigation ended up being documents and the legal and financial trail of the settlements and human resources records, but we only had one woman, Laura Madden, a former assistant, on the record, and we had a big problem. There were no actresses on the record, and we all know what an enormous part of the story that represents. And so I went to Ashley, and Ashley, I asked you to go on the record, and even as I spoke, I worried that the ask was all wrong, because Ashley, like everybody else, had wanted company in going on the record. Everybody knew that potentially there was strength in numbers, but even up till the very final days of the investigation before we published, that silence that had governed Hollywood for so long still held. No actress had been willing to put her name to it. So I called Ashley and I made the best case I could, and I said, we have all of this other evidence. It's a really solid story. It's going to be really powerful. And Ashley took a day to think about it, and then you called me. I still remember I was walking down the hall of the New York Times, and as soon as I answered the phone, you said, I am prepared to be a named source in your investigation. And at that moment, Ashley ended a silence that had held in Hollywood for so many years.
Let me bring you in here, Ashley. The morning the first report hit, Where were you, and how are you feeling? I'm nervous right now, and it's already happened, but just the way they framed that, what were you doing when that hit?
I was doing what I do best. I was in the Great Smoky Mountain National Park by myself. I was up yonder on a mountain.
Were you nervous? What were you feeling in that moment?
You know, I'm good with the God of my understanding, and I've been good with Harvey Weinstein for a long time because I know what he did to me, and I know what he did to a lot of my colleagues. And I was unafraid of him, and I was very comfortable with the power of these two and their investigative reporting and the power of the New York Times. It's a venerable institution, and their legal team had vetted their reporting, and I knew that it was all going to be okay. It was time. You know, we have this wonderful gathering that is documented in the book where Jodi and Megan were able to bring all of us women together, and that's part of how sexual harassment works. Predators separate and isolate women from each other, and we think our narratives are unique and that we suffer and are separated. But brought all of us together, including some unexpected allies like Dr. Christine Blasey Ford. And I was able to say to Gwyneth, I always worried about you. And
Was this the one at her home?
Yes, and Gwyneth was able to say to me, I was cheering for you. I knew that you were going to be the one to tell the story. And I'm so glad I did, you know. And I also went out in nature when I was considering being the named source, and I just thought, I've already made tough decisions in my life, and I like to do the harder thing, and this is relatively easy. I've been telling the story actually for many years. Now it's just time to do so with the power of the New York Times behind me.
Well, and Gwyneth thanked you for going where no other actress had been prepared to go before. It was one of the more moving moments in this group interview we conducted.
We should point out that NBC did reach out to Harvey Weinstein for reaction. We received a statement that reads, in part, she says, is all you need to know to appreciate that this book contains one-sided allegations without having adequately investigated the facts of each situation. There is a very different side to every story. And this is the statement that we received about Gwyneth Paltrow specifically. Gwyneth Paltrow comes from Hollywood royalty. Her father was a top producer. Her mother, a famous actor. Her godfather is Steven Spielberg. She didn't need to make movies with Harvey Weinstein. She wanted to, and she won top awards and was the top paid female actor for nearly a decade with Weinstein. Her narrative of her job being at stake is just gratuitous. Again, that statement coming from Harvey Weinstein.
Well,
what do you make of this statement?
Infuriating. I'm going to do Gwyneth's anger for her. That's infuriating.
Well, let's tell the story behind, I think, that statement, which is that when Gwyneth Paltrow was a very young actress, she hadn't had that many jobs yet, and this is the way she tells the story. Harvey Weinstein signed her up to do 2 movies, and one of them was Emma, which was a big deal. That was a star-making role for her. And before those movies were actually shot, he invited her to the Peninsula Hotel for a meeting. Now, she had a fax from CAA, from her agency, saying that this was a meeting she was supposed to attend. So it totally seemed like a business event. And at the end of that meeting, she says that he placed hands on her and asked her to finish in the bedroom. She was horrified. She never thought of him in that capacity at all. She was dating Brad Pitt at the time. Now, then what happened is that she told Brad Pitt, her boyfriend, she says, and Brad Pitt confronted Weinstein, a story that Pitt has confirmed. And at that point, that is when Gwyneth says Weinstein threatened her and said some version of, you're going to screw up your whole career. She felt that those roles were on the line. She said he was very intimidating, and that he asked her to keep it silent.
Part of the pattern.
And so part of the surprise when we heard this story for the first time in late June 2017, it was a real turning point in this investigation because we said, wait a second, Gwyneth Paltrow was really Harvey's biggest star, as that statement said, for a long time. If even she has that kind of story, what does that mean for other women? And then the other significant thing is that Paltrow really helped us and became part of our investigation.